Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to another question of etiquette. Now, of course, you probably could have guessed it, but I, again, have been drinking alcohol, and I have another question for you. Now, this one is different than the rest being one. This one didn't actually happen to me today, or this week, or this month. This one, do you ever get that? You ever get that stuff in your eye? Even late during the day. I know it's supposed to be the morning stuff, the morning crap in your eye, but what is that? What is that? So, my question of etiquette for this volume, the story is, this is how it goes. The story goes like this. This is how it moves. It goes. The story goes, you see someone you haven't seen in a long time, right? That happens to people. That does. You're at the mall. You're at the Gap. You're hanging out at the Gap. And you see someone you haven't seen in a very long time. You know, old friend, all right? High school. What's the etiquette on that? Okay? That's basically, it's more of a broad etiquette question right now. What's the etiquette on that? Do you run up, you give a big hug? No. That's too forward. You don't want to do that. You're going to freak the person out. Especially if it's a girl. You'll freak her out, you know, I don't want to say times 10, but you'll freak her out, alright? So don't do that. Running hug, always a bad thing. Always a bad thing. That's the I love you motion you're doing if you do the run-up hug. That is not something you want to be doing in an I haven't seen you in a long time situation. I'll tell you that right now. You don't do that. The running hug, very poor idea. Very poor. I don't care who it is. I don't care if the next girlfriend you went out for 3 years, you lost your virginity to each other, it's a big high school story. Running hug is a poor idea. You're better off looking at the ground pretending she's not there. I'll say that. You're better off not even acknowledging her existence. Oh, hey, how you doing? Just checking out shoes. That's what I'm doing. I'm checking out shoes. That's all you're doing. Him, her. I'm saying it's her in this situation. I haven't actually been put in this situation, but just checking out shoes. First, I'm going to talk about the guy etiquette. Okay, you never do a running hug. You barely ever do a hug unless you're on some special situation with this person. Unless it's a friendship hug that's already been acknowledged by the other person. The only time you ever do a guy haven't seen you in a long time hug is under those circumstances. That is it. I'm going to tell you the truth here. You run up and give someone I haven't seen you in a long time running hug, they are never talking to you again. Never. I'm not going to say that. Never, ever, ever. Who says that? Never, ever, ever? Why am I not smoking right now? Why? So, how did I do this last time? Was I doing this? I think we reach a point here where, we're in agreement, aren't we? No running, jumping hugs, okay? No matter what the circumstance, really. Unless it's just, a secret between you guys. Off limits. I'm going to say that right now. You do running hugs, our relationship is over. Even if you don't do it to me, we're through. You're a jumping hug kind of person, I hate that. I can't stand that, I feel like if you're a jumping hug kind of person, you know every character from the hills. It's not okay. But I'm going to move on from there. So, okay, you don't do the running hug. That's fine. That's good. That's, you're moving up in the world. I appreciate you. You can't just ignore the person either. You just can't do that. You haven't seen them in a long time, but you don't want to ignore the presence. If you do that 1 or 2 times, you're never going to talk to this person again. I guarantee that. They will think, there's some beef between you both. You're not talking to this person. I'll tell you that. It's just not going to happen. Okay? So what's the etiquette? It depends on the person, right? And I have a system I'd like to talk to you guys about. Okay? And this is my system. All right? You haven't seen them in 3 years, hypothetically. Okay? Graduated high school, went to college, you're back in town. Oh my God, Bob, Bob's right there. I haven't seen Bob in forever. Or, you know, I can't think of the girl name. Oh, look, there's Natalie. Look, there's Natalie. I haven't seen Natalie in like 3 years, okay? 3 years. So you run up, you're like, oh my God, it's Natalie. You know, you go talk to Natalie, okay? But here's the difference between, you know, you haven't seen her in 3 years or 1 year. Here's the difference. 3 years, bigger eyes. Are you with me? 3 years, okay? This is a 3-year eye look. This is like, I haven't seen you in 3 years. And then, you know, they slowly get smaller and smaller. But, you know, you haven't seen them in a week. You're barely open. You almost look like you're napping if you haven't seen them in like a week. You know, where's the interest there? Just don't open. If you give someone a look like this after not seeing them for a week, you know, you're going to get a restraining order is what you're going to get. Bigger eyes, okay? Bigger eyes for people you haven't seen in a long time, and they get slowly smaller. So you're talking like a 3, 2, 1, okay? 1, it's not that different from normal, but it's the reflection. It's that little reflection, and it's a little bit wider than normal. And they'll notice, believe me. If you haven't seen them in a year, I want you guys to remember that. Just a little bit. Don't freak out and just, you know, pop your sockets out, but just that little increment right there, okay? Probably like that. Probably like that. That's all. So that's it. You know, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. I don't know what to tell you if you haven't seen someone for like 10 years. You gotta incorporate some kind of weird bodily motion in that circumstance. I'm only talking eyes and hug etiquette here. If we're talking about hug etiquette here, I'd like to say just the regular. You're not going to increase your walking speed. You're not going to decrease. You're going to do a general walk up and hug type situation. You don't. I'm not hugging a gorilla. I'm just just a regular hug. A regular hug, and you'll be just fine. Don't overthink this, because apparently I am. I don't know how you're supposed to take my word for all this stuff if I can't, give you any good facts here, but don't. Okay? Don't overhug. Don't change your speeds. Watch the eyes. You'll do just fine. Anyway, this has been a question of etiquette. Volume 2. Tune in next time when something absolutely terrible happens. I'm your host. Good night.